And then there's like this guy, I don't know who he was, and he just went like, "It's this kid Erksendale again." I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm just like trying to play a game, bro.
What were you playing? What
I
game
was
was
playing
it?
Roblox. Like it was a.
It's
Oh,
like
kids
going
anime,
into like a
mostly.
Minecraft PvP server and then getting booed off that. Like I don't
Right,
know, like
exactly.
I
It's
got
not
bullied
as
off
bad as.
of like my first Overwatch game back in like forever. I played free for all and I was winning and then I lost right at the end and then everyone was talking
Yeah.
mad shit about me. I was like, I just got back. I don't want to hear. Alright guys, welcome back to the Third Party Podcast where we are your third party opinions for film and animation. Today I am joined by Andy or Mondo Visuals. Actually, do you want me to go by your name for this? I can bleep it out.
No, you can go with my name. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Andy works fine.
Alright, as long as that's
Mm.
cool. Alright, so we're here with Andy or Mondo.
Yeah.
Mondo, I forget the dot what it was. I think it's just Mondo, right?
Yeah, just Mondo.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mondo. And then obviously with my co-host Alex, he's over here on the left.
Cool.
I kind of like this setup a little bit better. It's like left, right, and then guest is on the.
I mean, for me, you're on this side, so it's like.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter for you. It matters for them because I'm recording.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. We just talked about some random shit already, but I guess we
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
jump into it. I don't know if Alex has any questions to start off with. You might as well.
Well, I can
Or-
start with like the first one. So because you
Wait,
do like a bunch of
wait.
you,
Wait,
Yeah.
before we actually jump off the questions, Andy, you should probably introduce yourself just a tiny bit.
Right.
Oh
right.
yeah.
All right. So hello. My name is Andy. I also go by the name of Mondo. I'm a motion and a visual designer, currently working as a 3D artist in a studio, focusing on product designing and
Sweden?
animations. In Sweden, based in Sweden. That
Yeah.
is correct.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I
That's-
want to go to Sweden
it.
so bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been there. Technically I've been there, but only in the airport as a transferring like a connecting
Real-
flight.
oh.
So it doesn't really count. But
Doesn't
I was
count.
in their border.
Yeah.
My mom wants to go on a
Yeah.
vacation there one day, so I'm probably
Oh,
gonna
really?
Meatballs hit. It hits hard though. Like it's
the
pretty
meatballs.
good.
The one
meatballs.
thing that I
Oh,
think Sweden's known for is the meatballs.
It's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
The meatball.
I was there because of we went to Finland for like Christmas, which is pretty sick.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, first time seeing snow. Then second time is Switzerland. So that was another story. But yeah, so since you do like a bunch of like motion design stuff, and you've been doing it for a while, and there's like a fair number of people who knew what you've done. But when did you actually like start? Like, how did you get started? Like, what got you into like, and it's not the 3D one. I'm talking also about like the 2D, and then eventually progressively like getting
Oh,
into
yeah.
What got you into
My
art,
creative
son?
journey. No. So yeah, I started. What was it? Let's see. Back in 2017, that would be. I was just streaming, just having fun, and then I found out anime editing, so I started streaming that as well. Then eventually one day, some guy came in. His name is Abyss. Not sure if you have heard of him. Abyss.
I
Trash.
think-
Maybe not.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But not trash.
Yeah.
That's not trash. Yeah.
No, dot
Yeah.
trash. That's I think it was in Trash Gang or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
not
I know.
fully
Yeah,
aware.
yeah.
I know. I recognize the name.
Yeah, so he introduced me to the Discord community or something, if I
Wow,
remember
yeah.
correctly. And then I fast forward, I joined a couple teams here and there, and then started eventually doing anime edits. More.
Yeah.
Than,
What
Yeah.
year did you start? Was it like similar year? Like, did you join law too? I feel like you were in law.
No, I never joined law. Actually,
okay.
I
Never
did
mind.
want to join law. I think that was most of us who just started animating. Everyone wanted to join law.
Dots
Okay,
wasn't
well,
it.
I will.
Yeah.
I lob you
It was-
in.
There was something
just
about
to say
law
you could
back
say it.
then.
There
No,
was.
no,
I
it's
think it
not.
was because I don't know the uniqueness at the time. It was very glitchy, a little
definitely.
bit more motion designy.
Same as for internet editors.
Oh yeah, interneters. I want to get
yeah.
into so bad.
They were. I
Yeah.
don't know, there was something about them.
Yeah.
But,
Now
yeah.
nowadays, who gives a fuck? Just join a studio, get to work. with
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
It's like I don't know.
A
what
lot of
happened.
a lot of editors now pretty much independent or just working in like a studio like full time and stuff like that.
yeah.
Which are a lot better. That's like, and their work is like a lot better than because back then I was like 2020 was like the Armageddon because everyone wanted to join these groups and everyone was toxic and had these huge egos, all that.
I
Oh
don't
bullshit.
Jesus,
remember. I stopped doing
Luffy.
AMVs for a while.
I don't know. There is one day like a scandal. Java.
Oh yeah, that's
We don't need to go into too many
we know,
scandals.
Luffy.
I don't.
No, wait,
Yeah,
no,
Too
we
many
should
people
leave it
don't.
as well. But
Yeah, too
it's
many
like,
people don't care about the AMV stuff. I think it's just
it was
kind
pretty
of.
funny that when seeing it, it was like, wow, this is pretty hilarious. I
yeah.
remember you posted like a story. You sounded pretty upset. It was
I
like,
was
wow.
wait me right?
Yeah, you. I think you were
Yeah, I
fuming.
was. Cause some reason I got attacked for it. For whatever reason there was, it was like 2, 3 people. I was like, what the fuck did I do?
You
Because
I
you're
got
had
one guide.
I got one guide for no reason whatsoever.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah.
all
But
time now.
besides that, because you how from AMVs, how did like eventually to get into like the 2D and 3D like design part? Like what?
Ooh. I think I can't say honestly. It was more like for 2D part, it was like when you're on Twitter, you tend to just follow other people, right? And
Yeah.
eventually, if you do anime edits, you will see people like retweeting Japanese stuff because well, it's Japanese, right? But eventually,
Yeah.
at some point, they retweet, those kind of like Japanese classic style, those motion up and down, different shapes and so forth.
Yeah. I
I was
guess
like,
that makes
that looks cool, right? So I was like, fuck it, I want to do something like that. And then
Uh,
eventually, you get inspired by other people who also saw those kind of stuff.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, the reason why I got into Zudi was because of you, Andy. Because
Oh,
like
really?
actually, I think you're the one that actually demonstrated or like displayed motion design best, and then I understood what it was basically.
Oh, well, thank you.
I there was no, it was Shitoris, and then it was you, but you
Tutorials,
that kind of
yeah.
like Shitoris was one. It was like all these like I'm like looking at it like these are like simple like squares and stuff like that, but he makes it
Exactly.
look so cool. But then when I saw your stuff, it's like you can even take it even further and stuff like that.
Ah, I see.
Oh.
There was that.
I was gonna say like Andy, like who inspired you more like in that 2D realm to get more into like the design part?
Oh, it was a guy called. I had a friend who introduced to him. It was like No Cure. You can't
Oh.
find him if you just search him, but you
Yeah.
have to put Vimeo in the end. So No Cure, he was. Oh my God, to this day I still don't understand how he does stuff.
That's
It
crazy.
is, it is crazy, and he also did some kind of like anime version to it, which was cool to me. So that's why I also wanted to do some kind of like 2D animations too. Um,
Noise.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I never had a guy that pushed me into 3D. I feel like I just kind of got into it because I was doing it
Oh, yeah.
through After
Same
Effects,
here.
and then it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, I know about 3D because I used Source Filmmaker when I was like 14.
Oh, for me, yeah.
And I was
I
like,
think I've told you. Yeah, I think I've told you, Justin. There was actually a guy that actually got me into 3D. I was like, yeah, I want to learn
yeah,
this kind
I
of
think
thing.
you guys all had a
Even in this.
guy, but I always watched like Freddie W or something, and I knew about 3D, so I was like,
Right.
Oh, but
Eventually, it
but
just
so that's
switched.
the 2D. Yeah, so but how did you get into what got you into the 3D part of it? Like learning C4D and all of that
Yeah, I
stuff.
actually
Because
jump in it.
Oh, me
yeah, like
or
me,
who?
but
Me or Andy? Who are you
No,
asking?
you, Josh.
Oh, no one. I don't think anybody pushed me to it. I just kind of knew about the programs, and I was like, this might elevate the After Effects boredom that I'm having. Because I felt like I
Oh,
learned
yeah.
everything there was
Yeah,
through
yeah, yeah.
After Effects, so I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll just go to 3D because I knew about it. Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of people doing it when I was starting 3D because I was still doing it around the time I was doing AMVs. And then
Right.
from there, I
But
just
like,
kind of got pushed, especially when I had my first job with Jimmy and I worked on that Yu-Gi-Oh project. It was like all 3D, and I was
Jimmy.
like, damn, Jimmy Zhang.
Oh, Jimmy Chan. Yeah, right.
but the other thing is that like, cause that's what you into 3D, but 2D. But what got you into like the 3D kind of like design thing? Like what
Ooh, I
got you into
think
more into that?
actually it was funny enough. It was actually an editor from the anime community back in
Of course.
2018 or something. Yep. Halfier. I
Okay.
don't know if you ever heard of him. He has been.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
Of
of course. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I still love
Half
that
year's
guy. I
great.
don't know. His work back then was like whoa, it's different. But if you look at now, you're like, I could do that too. But like
Yeah,
back then, it was
I mean,
amazing.
I
It
don't
was
half
know.
year's work
amazing to me.
to this day is still good. But when you
I
look,
haven't
if you
watched
try to
them
break
stuff.
it down, if you break
Yeah,
it down, it's still like you could still do it. It's not like when you look at something like let's say Ian Hubert, and you really think like, well, this is it's a bit much. Like, how do you like really do it? Because if you look at
yeah,
half year, it's very abstract, that but you know how these
exactly.
things are made. Like, there's
Yeah,
cloners
exactly.
and there's
Right,
simple
exactly.
stuff, and
So you
but
can't
it's like
for
well
yeah,
executed. Yeah. Yeah, but
yeah.
half year, yeah. Have you
I
like
have
met half year
no
like or
no interaction with that guy. If that's what you meant.
uh,
Not
uh
none whatsoever. Oh, what the fuck? I was like 15 at the time. It's
Uh,
like
the stream, bro.
16. Like you don't go to people's DMs. You know
I
what I
do.
mean? Like,
I did. I was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy that
no,
always DM'd
oh really?
everybody. Yeah.
Oh, at that age?
Actually,
Yeah, even when I
Never,
was like
if
15, 16, I
you're
was texting like, yeah, all the people
never.
that I was
I
looking up to.
once. I was the timid
yeah,
little
yeah,
boy.
yeah. Yeah, it is a bit like I guess you could get a bit shy, but what I've learned is if you actually go into people's DMs, if you at least like just try, it's actually one way
Yeah,
to get like connections and like clients and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
especially if
believe it
you're
or not.
pretty genuine about it too. Like if you're just
Yeah, believe it or not, I think remember Gameby saying like, oh, I he wants help making his character, making some kind of prop, and I messaged like, I can actually help you a bit or something. And at one point, like Gameby was like a client for like maybe like a couple days just to make him like a mask,
wait,
like a
he
mask
paid,
asset.
he paid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it paid.
yeah.
Awesome.
Of
Nice.
course, I'm not gonna do it for free, you
Well,
know.
hey, he's the man.
I mean, but yeah, man, there's that. Uh, it was super short project, but it was like he liked what was there, and I gave him like everything. But yeah, but what's just like your like Andy? What? Because since you're into this thing, like what you're looking into achieving? Like what's your like long term or short term goal with
Ooh.
just doing this kind of stuff? I'm sure everyone has
Um,
one.
yeah, certainly. Well, my goal was actually just to make it into a studio, which is funny enough. I got it ready.
Yeah, well,
Like
yeah,
get
So
into a
yeah,
studio or
but
make your own studio.
into
no,
a studio.
get into a
Yeah.
studio.
Oh,
But
okay.
I never thought of actually making a studio.
Okay, okay.
But I think for the longest time, I think I always wanted to be a motion designer, speaker. Always inspire other people and motivate them.
Oh, a
'Cause it's
speaker. Okay, yeah.
yeah, I'm public speaker more like for those kind of like
You do have
motion design.
you do give off like speaker energy. Like I could see you
Oh,
at
I
like a like Blender conference C4D. Like I don't know,
uh,
like some
I
conference.
don't know.
I'd
I'm
see
not
you do
really
like a presentation. Like here's how
I
you do this thing.
no, I would love to because I always get inspired by other people who does the same thing. Always willing to teach others and
Mm,
always show them there's always things you can actually do, and it's not the same thing you will always do. There's
yeah.
always something new in the field, and that's something I always wanted to teach people because they always even back in the anime communities like they would always ask for stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah,
I always felt like the things they asked was never like how can I improve myself. It was rather more like
A very
how can I achieve that? Just
yeah that
solely that.
yeah that
And
I
specific
actually
thing.
get those. I always get those questions like, how do you?
yeah, and for
How?
me, I always felt like, okay, what about you can do this instead? Like think of your own
It,
ways to achieve
I
it,
guess.
right?
Yeah, I guess what you're looking for is instead of people asking you how you do it, it's like why do you do it?
Yeah,
Like
why I
why
did
do you
it
do it
and
Yeah.
this
exactly
way?
that. And
Well,
then,
Yeah, there's actually not many resources on why people do things they way. Like why does this simulation look the way it is? Why does this animation,
exactly.
especially when it's
Right.
abstract, it is a lot harder to explain
No,
why. I guess
100%.
because there's no like narrative. Sometimes it's very vague. It's very artsy and kind of like, for example, if you look at like a VFX shot, here's a reason why they have this, to tell a story. But if you look at
Right.
like an abstract commercial, right? There's a bit more of like sort of sort of like figure of speech, kind of like uh like it's a bit. I'm not stunned. It's hard to explain, but not like vague, but just more like um you're sort of like trying to convey a message in a different kind of way instead of it being super like straightforward, if that makes sense. For
Yeah.
example, if you have like a Nike commercial, right? Obviously it's like a shoe, but if you want to represent comfort, you could just put like representations of like soft body dynamics and stuff like that. or if you have a I don't know, like maybe like a computer, then you have sci-fi stuff, abstract
Mm,
sci-fi stuff, show like, oh, this is representing the future,
Right.
advanced technology kind of stuff. So that's basically, something that could be like a thing that's for someone, maybe something that you could maybe if you use your YouTube channel to be like
I was
sort of
gonna
like very
mention.
fundamental stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like because you want to do like you see yourself as like a speaker. Did you ever think about doing like tutorials or anything like that?
I certainly have, many times actually, but I always felt like every time I even tried many times, it just felt it wasn't it, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
felt like my tutorial was very generic. It's like, whatever, if you search it up, you could maybe find like 30 more, right?
Yeah.
It was
When
not,
I
it was never new, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
whenever
yeah,
I
yeah.
did
never
my
tried.
tutorials, like I have like
Uh,
a Studio Ghibli tree tutorial, and that's been
yeah,
done to
right.
death. But like I try to always explain it to like a degree where it's not like this is how you do the thing. I show you how to do the thing, but then it's also like, hey, you could probably do this, and this to vary
Yeah,
it, and also like think for yourself like this gives you
right.
this look, but it can be alternated into some other look. A lot of things
Yeah,
like that.
back then when I did actually when I tried doing like a couple tutorials, I would actually not just go as like, yeah, just do this, follow me, but I'll also go like, here's why you're gonna do it. This is why. This is what this thing does, and what it's gonna
Right.
like do for you. And some people manage to like understand like, oh, that's why he thinks this way because this is what this tool does, and that's what Blender Guru. Oh, excuse me. Oh,
Right.
that's what Blender Guru does. He sort of when he does his donut tutorial, he explains to you like why he's doing it in this way, and that's the tutorial that I sort of get out of the most instead of someone like I won't say name, but he just shows it. Yeah, just do this, do this, tick this, and then that's it. You made
I
your
mean,
animation.
sometimes
It's like,
sometimes it's nice if it's very specific, but most of the time it's
yeah,
not.
but especially for like a beginner, right?
Oh
It
yeah,
wouldn't make sense.
for a
It's like
beginner,
Yeah, for
you
you're
beginners.
not explaining why.
yeah,
Otherwise, I don't need to know. Like,
I
if
don't
you're
need to
doing an
know.
advanced,
Like, do you guys
if you're
think you
doing
need to know why? Like generally,
no, no, no.
because I feel like
If
we
it's
understand why at this point. Like
yeah,
we could see
if
a
it's
tutorial and like
something,
vary it if we need to.
yeah, if it's something new, then I would need to know why you do it. Otherwise, you don't have to tell it to me all the time because I'm not stupid, right? We already know
Yeah.
the fundamentals. That's for a different video for people who are actually learning this thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's basically it. But do you actually plan on making tutorials soon or in the future or anything like
Yeah,
that?
definitely. Once I've gotten good enough on Houdini and Nuke, maybe something
Ah,
gonna
Yeah,
be.
Houdini is
I
like,
think like
Uh,
software that's not well taught already
exactly.
would be
Yeah,
pretty nice.
yeah. I mean, there's
oh
good
yeah,
Houdini tutorials out there.
There
It's just
is,
that
but like concise. I don't know. I don't see a lot of them, and I also don't know
no,
anything about
no.
Houdini as much as I've
and
seen
Yeah,
a lot on
and it's
Houdini.
yeah, and it's still pretty damn difficult at first. So it's,
it
yeah,
is. So if I could somehow
yeah,
break
but
it down more easier than the ones video put out there already, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's something I would definitely do.
the ones
But for
put out there
now,
right now are like fucking college level tutorials. Like, damn.
those are alright.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, but yeah,
Yeah,
it is hard sometimes. I
yeah, but
agree.
I'm glad you mentioned Houdini and Nuke. Like, how is like learning it, Houdini and Nuke? Because this is actually
I'm still, of course, the first big. I literally just started like a week ago or so.
yeah,
So,
but how
but
is it? Because like it's pretty different, isn't it? It's pretty
it
like
is
wow.
very different. But holy moly, it changes everything.
It does, it does, it
Even Da
does.
Vinci, like I rarely use now like Premiere or After Effects. It's
yeah. I use
like
Yeah,
DaVinci all
very.
the time.
Vinci is great. Vinci is
It
great.
is like god damn.
I I love Da Vinci, but the fact that I can't customize the UI,
Yeah, I get
That
that.
that
I get
actually
that.
bothers me a bit because there's some times where
Mhm.
I'm like I don't know shortcuts yet, so I'm just cutting shit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I make the screen bigger? Make the
Yeah.
screen bigger. I can't
100%.
see the thing.
yeah, it's really annoying. That's why I'm still using. If Da Vinci had that, I'm switching, like 100%. Never using Premiere.
Oh,
It's like,
you're more into like you. Oh, so the thing is, watching my colleagues have like literally thrown my mindset of, okay, I need this to be like this, like UI, like let's say, because
Mm,
whenever I look at them, they're always learning, like every time. Like they're doing some medical field stuff, and they need to do some realistic tissues and stuff, right? So they're always searching.
damn.
and he's still new to Houdini, but like he just jumps in there and just brute force it, just like all the colleagues. So they never like complain, never. It's just so I started to like it
You
more.
just learn it.
You just do
Of
it,
course,
you
you
know what
just
I
learn
mean?
it. But
So yeah, I started
honestly,
having this mindset
That's
of
kind of how
like
I learned Blender, right? I just brute
yeah,
forced it and learned like
yeah,
character animation, modeling, texturing, like all at once because I had
right.
to. So it was like, okay, that's brute forcing. At least I
Like
think
I
like
just
that's.
did.
I was gonna say I think it's good that like sometimes you guys have time to like learn the fundamentals at like a generally nice pace at the same
oh,
time.
I
I did
wish.
that for I did it for Cinema 4D. Just straight up, just learn whatever. Look what this tutorial looks good. Just learn it, and then it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blender was more specific for me though, because I know what I wanted to get out of Blender, and it was just modeling and easy.
well, I had to
And
get
then eventually it's
everything out
just
of Blender
yeah.
because I did use Cinema 4D at the beginning, but I switched to Blender because I didn't want to pay for it. So I was like, I'll just
Yeah.
do free. If I was freelancing more, I probably would have switched to Cinema 4D like way faster.
But for VFX, I think it's Blender is still easier
Blender
because there's
is
a lot
good
more
for
tutorials in
freelancing.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree,
And
100%.
especially for like the VFX kind of character animation stuff, because the rigging in C4D is hell.
Well,
Like
I don't even rig
I
in Cinema.
Horrible.
I don't even rig in Blender. I rig with like Mixamo, and then like I'll transfer it
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
a Rigify rig with XPy or something.
it's such a pain. Like, so when I did this character animation for this one client project, I did not export, and like I did it character animation in Blender, but because I didn't want to deal with any bones, I actually exported the animation as an Alembic and put in the Cinema 4D and just put all the textures in because I didn't want to like deal with all like the bones and like the scaling. Because when you scale them up, it's like it just messes around with the skeleton and the geometry. So
I
like,
debated on doing that
and it
with Unreal Engine at some points.
and the UV editor and the modeling tools in C4D is it's gotten better, but it's still not as good as like if you get like Maya or Blender. I've
Yeah.
tried Maya. The UV tools and stuff there is very good, and retopo tools are good there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have a
but
question for both of you, by the way. What do you think the best learning method was for both of you? Because we did mention tutorials and making them. Like, what for learning your software? Like, was it tutorials, asking people? Like, what was the best method you think came up that you were like, damn, that's the way to go about all this?
You should go first, Alex.
Yeah,
In
you
your
can
opinion.
go.
the best way to learn as an artist, or
I guess
like if
it's more of a
or
personal
like.
thing, like how you learned. It's hard to speak for
I
other
mean,
people, but
how I learned, I think was best is just to experiment. Like you don't really, I feel like you don't really learn until you're actually like doing it.
yeah,
You really mess around and do this, and I think the best one is repetition. So if you keep doing it all over again, it just gets ingrained into your head, and it just becomes like super easy. And that's basically what I did for like X particles, right?
mm,
And I've done it so much, is that everything becomes second nature. And if there's like an idea in my head with at least like a basic simulation, I can just straight up just do it, and then you just get what I want, you know.
what
Okay.
about you, Andy?
Damn.
Mm, I would say same as what Alex said. Repetition is a must when learning, because when you're
Yeah.
looking at stuff, as we already mentioned, tutorials, they tend to just teach you how it works, and not how it works, but like how it exactly like
Yeah,
how
like
you should do it,
how to
right?
execute it. Like you know
Yeah,
those old
execute
ass
it.
AMV tutorials are like
Yeah,
put the
right.
keyframes like five away, do it
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly like
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah. Put this like
Yeah.
4.5 on the value. Like,
Yeah.
you never get it. So you always have to do like practice. An actual
Yeah.
when you do practice, you can actually build some kind of visualization in your head. So maybe next time when you do it again, you have a rough idea how it's gonna work. So it's always good to have a
Yeah.
practice, as
Because
Alex said.
Yeah.
Repetitions.
because tutorials alone are not gonna teach you much, especially like they're gonna show you, but you're not doing it, so you don't
I
have
guess if
any
it's something
like
new
like
is
memory of.
yeah, I guess if it was something new more
There's
than what I
something.
meant.
There
Like
is
if you
something.
didn't know
Yeah.
at all how to rig, you would probably look at a tutorial or something or ask somebody like what's the best
Yeah.
rigging method or whatever. I get asked how to
Yeah.
rig all the time and I'm like, "All right, I made a tutorial on this. I'll just send you the one that I do, but this is how I rig characters." So like it's just my method or something. Like asking somebody or finding a tutorial on YouTube for something completely new.
Yeah. So
Experimenting's
apart
fine,
from
but
the so apart from the learning stuff, I guess we can go to more towards the more like the stuff that's happening right now. So because you're like I think you said you're 1 month into like a studio, like what is your experience with it so far? And
Holy
like
shit.
what have you learned? You know,
Just like any
what is
jobs, you get very tired. First
yeah
of
yeah
all,
yeah of course. Yeah, yeah,
it's mentally draining. It's crazy because I never felt so tired in my life. It is so fast.
yeah.
It is so fast
Yeah,
paced, insane, and like you certainly feel bad about yourself, especially those first months, because everyone does so fast, and even I
yeah,
got my first project right away, but like I spent like a good 110-ish hours on it when you're
yeah,
only supposed to, for those kind of project, you're only supposed to spend like good 40, 60, so, or even 20 if you're fast enough, right?
yeah, like an actual
yeah.
work week,
Yeah,
like a
actually, right.
pretty average
But
work week.
yeah, he was kind enough to give me those kind of projects because I was still learning new softwares. Like, I'm still learning Photoshop once again, the raw camera raw. I've actually started using that again, and then of course Redshift, and then I'm
Yeah,
used to the old UI of Cinema 40, but I learned it in a day, so that was fine.
yeah.
They
The
have the
mem- yeah,
yeah. Right. And then, of course, the pipeline for the team, like understanding
oh
how
yeah.
they build their stuff, how they, sample, how they, organize. So that was a lot of things to take in. Um, so, very, very, very tiring, I would say, but definitely fun
I
when
have
you're older.
Funny, but
I have thought about doing studio work at some point, maybe,
Yeah.
but like it's one of those things that I feel like if I'm done with YouTube and I'm done trying to like do the YouTube thing, like maybe go into like studio work. It's hard.
Very hard.
I kind of like
yeah,
I like doing independent shit.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. But what have you learned that you think you wouldn't like get outside of like a studio? Like what is something that you wouldn't like hear about like on the internet or by self
Oh,
teaching? Like
the
you know.
disparity of how much money they actually get. Like
Oh
how
yeah,
much
yeah, 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 yeah,
it is crazy. 500,000 even. That's like goddamn. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
even think of that. But also planning.
You'd be surprised.
I thought I was planning my projects well, but in a studio, the plan very, very meticulous, like very like
Meticulous.
detailed and stuff,
Yeah.
meticulous,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I don't know. I started using that planning format as well, and I've been doing way better. Also, the mindset of the team they have taught me, like
Yeah.
whenever you tell yourself, maybe if you were not in a studio before, I would always tell myself like, all right, I'm gonna do this project for a month, and then just do it, right? But then I forget the most simple thing. You actually have to put the hours. You can't just say 1 month, right?
Yeah.
So you have to actually put hours, and that's the biggest thing. But also, what would that be? Oh, I just had it in my brain. What was it? But yeah,
Yeah.
those two most noticeable first thing I learned.
Yeah. I really want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn the organization of like a studio or like the way that they
Yeah.
like set up shot lists or things storyboards and things like that, like the full pipeline cuz like I want to learn from
Yeah.
that too, but then it's hard to learn online and then
Mhm.
it's in a studio it's
Yeah.
much more practical because there
Yeah,
literally is a
it is.
practical use case for it. Like they're literally
Right.
doing the job. It's not just
Mm.
hey guys, here's how you do a storyboard. It's
Yeah.
like okay, like this isn't super practical all
Well,
the time.
there are paid courses to show you,
Yeah.
but it's best when you do it in a studio because then you really understand the
You
way of
really.
their like organization. Because like let's say you are in organized flow. If you go in a studio, then you'll really see how and really organized kind of work for it because they're really like their file formats, their shot list. They have like a board showing all the stuff
Mm.
that they have to do. They
Right.
have their emails, and there's also like a pipeline, and everyone
Mm.
has their own thing.
Yeah, I've
Mhm.
And
experienced like one form of a shot list when I worked with Reanime, and that was the first and only time I really saw a shot list. So I was like, oh, okay, this is how people do this, sort of. But
yeah,
you don't get like the full scope unless you're in a studio where like you see the different departments working on
Yeah.
each thing. Like from me, I'm working here, and everyone's out in like LA or somewhere else, and they're only showing you the stuff you need to know, so that you don't learn the
Yeah.
full pipeline, or in terms of how everything
Yeah.
gets used.
Right.
Yeah. So since you're doing both freelance and like studio stuff as well, obviously there are differences. Like for example,
Yeah.
like you're in a studio, you don't have to worry about like the organization or the budgeting because you're basically the one who's going to take care of the the actual art stuff, and you only focus on that. Like what are like the major differences you find in freelance and studio, and like what do you think are the pros and cons, and just
Right.
just all of that so far because it's only 1 month.
Exactly. Only 1 month. So first of all, freelance. I mean, as you said, you can do whatever you want, and sometimes, you either get a good client or a bad client, meaning, as in like how annoying they could be. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like
Oh
how
yeah.
detailed they could be.
how horrible they can be, but it's fine. You just brute force it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For studio, I would say how professional you have to present yourself. It's like
Uh,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
high-end clients,
I
and you
I
gotta present yourself well.
I am kind
But
of
You have to
curious.
talk differently.
Yeah, a little bit talking.
yeah,
I was gonna ask like what do you find? What do you think was more stressful to do? Even though I mean like you're new to the studio life, like what do you think was more stressful starting out? I guess that would be an easier question. Like starting out freelancing versus starting out as a studio employee. Like what do you think
I think
was the
studio would be
hardest
more now.
to start to be like more stressful?
I think studio
I
for me.
mean,
I guess,
yeah, studio, right?
but not in a bad way. Like it's just like there's like a lot of deadlines, and you have a pretty big responsibility, and you go to fuck a lot of more. It's not like you're in freelance. You're not just fucking if you fail or you mess up. It's not you, right? I mean, it's just you. But if you're doing it in studio, you're screwing over a lot of other people. If you're in like a middle of a pipeline as well. And
Mm,
you want to make you have to be making sure you get stuff done. That's how it works.
that's
Obviously,
understandable.
there's
Yeah.
like yeah. So yeah. But do you think for me at least I think studio would be a bit more stressful, but it's like not in a bad way. It's just stressful as like there's like a lot of work to do. But do you think freelance or you know?
No, studio is more stressful. As you said, whatever you do affects the whole team actually. Because when you do
Yeah.
some kind of any project in the studio, it's very, as I said, very organized. So they'll put hours, how many hours you put on lighting, modeling, texturing, and such, right? And
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they have exactly how many hours, and you don't always, it's not exactly, but like it's a rough estimations, right? So the team can actually manage in time to actually finish the project.
Mm,
So it's more
Yeah.
stressful, definitely, but it's not a bad stressful. It's more like keeping yourself disciplined the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is stressful, of course, and you get tired of it, but the more you do it, as you said, you get used to it, so it's fine. So I'm not used to it yet, so give it a
yeah.
couple more months and we'll see. But yeah,
Okay.
it's more definitely more stressful.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
kind of projects do you typically work on, or your company typically works on?
We are we do a lot of services, different kind of servers, mainly
Okay.
3D, right? So
Okay. I
we
guess
do
like
put it
because I
Yeah.
heard you say like medical earlier, so I was like curious on like
right.
what. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, we first of all we do product designing, meaning that whenever there's a new startup company or an old one, or they always come to us, and then we make like realistic as possible as an advertisement or like a launch video for them. That's what we do. So we get various of clients like doctors, architectures, and then so forth,
Mm,
even those chefs, I mean, like they want to present their cool dish and stuff, so we do
no,
that in 3D, but we haven't done that yet, but we have like gotten those kind of,
I
so
see.
yeah.
And then like
Right.
what would your roles specifically be? Because I mean I heard you're
So
learning Houdini and Nuke, and obviously you have
right.
Cinema 4D. So I don't know if you're like modeling, just doing Sims,
mm,
like
right.
what is the thing
Or
you use?
or being a
So
generalist or
Yeah,
something.
like
yeah,
what?
so I'm so as a junior 3D artist, that's what I do. I don't have much responsibility as the senior ones. They
Okay.
work like
Yeah.
they work insanely amount. it's
That makes sense.
crazy.
Yeah.
They work like 4 projects at a time, 3D, and I
Okay.
could never imagine. But I realized how smart they are, how they plan stuff. So I also implemented to me, like this current project I'm doing. I can't say the name, of course, because
No,
it's
yeah,
not
that's fine.
Yeah.
like it. But I never thought I could able like replicate 4 rooms like in a day. It's crazy. I never thought of that. Exactly. And you know what's crazy is that making rooms is has been the most annoying part of my job because how close you need to be the actual measurement of things,
Oh
objects,
yeah,
room,
so
the
straight up interior design type. Where
interior design. But yeah, I do those a little bit now, but I do a bit of everything honestly.
uh,
Modeling, lighting, texturing. I'm just, yeah, as Alex said, I'm generalist, so that's what I do. And anything that has to do with 3D, I do them. Um,
uh,
but I'm aiming to be
Yeah.
more
Nice.
visually, visualize concept, because that's what I'm gonna do in a couple of months.
nice.
So
Yeah.
that's my, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's your experience with like clients? In like the studio, and then you could tell
Oh,
us about the
I
freelance
mean,
ones if you had any.
yeah. For I mean, I only had like 2, right? So I mean, it's not much. But the one I got
Yeah.
was very, very, very nice. I
Very
was
good.
actually,
Very
yeah,
good.
I was
You
the
hit a jackpot.
animator. Yeah, I hit a jackpot. He was very nice. He was selling his product, a virtual gun actually for what was it? Police and hunters to learn how to actually like shoot virtually, like how like building their muscle memory
Oh,
on virtual gun.
so
So it was like,
like a game
for
kind of
cop,
thing.
yeah, it's a kind of game, right? Because they wanted they noticed how cops in Sweden is like very lacking in terms of
Uh,
like, hostage situations and such, right? So they wanted to do bring,
Ah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they wanted to bring like a, virtual gun. Like, do you actually get the gun? You know what I mean? Like, you actually hold it, but like
and it has like
it's used.
recoil and all that. I would assume.
Yeah,
That's pretty
they were
sick. That's pretty
yeah, they were thinking actually implementing that. That's what it said. But
I would
I
assume.
actually got to try their product. It was hella fun.
Oh, that's
So
actually
that's,
kind of
Oh, it's
fun.
so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's kind of nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, whenever we get the,
I,
yeah, whenever we get project, we always try them. We always get the products.
that's
I
actually
Um,
get
yeah.
food
That
as like
yeah, food too. I
yeah.
mean, hey.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
No.
yeah,
Alex.
if you work in the studio, you get food. Yeah,
Alice gets like the front, like the 360 pictures of an object, and never the interiors,
Oh,
because apparently there's
Really?
some like NDA thing on it, like you can't see it.
oh yeah. So I think I told you this before, but yeah. So I did talk to you about this like in a different episode with Zappo, right? And
Yeah.
basically the client wanted us to do like a 3D animation,
Right.
and they didn't want to give any parts, and we're like, how are we gonna like make do this animation? And so I'm guessing we have to model it, and I was the only one who's able to model it because there was no like blueprints, was the most comfortable way of everyone like modeling it, because they always have like blueprints as their reference. But I'm okay with modeling with just like a screenshot or whatever. So I modeled it, but I said it's not going to be accurate because they didn't want to give the interior, so they said, oh, they're going to send models, and I'm like, oh, that's great. They only send parts which are separated from the interior model of the product, and then
Oh,
I had to model like all the like exterior parts because they didn't want to send the exterior. And then the Houdini artist calls me. He's like, you know what? I can't participate in this project because I'm going on vacation. We were delayed like 3 weeks, yada yada.
yeah.
And he said something. He said something around the words of like maybe they don't want to send it because of like Chinese parts or something. And I was like,
Oh yeah, no, that's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I
that
was
was my
like,
first project too.
oh, that makes a lot of sense actually.
No,
Maybe
it
that's the
totally makes
case.
sense.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm
I
like,
mean, I guess it's lucky
"Fuck,
though that like Andy, like you get the thing in hand, so you have reference.
Oh yeah,
Like you can
yeah,
literally like
I
definitely.
you can
mean,
look at like this gun
But
and be like, ooh,
yeah, but
model.
it's sometimes like my colleagues they're doing some kind of boat engine which is hella huge. So
obviously, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
I mean,
hella, you
okay.
can't bring that.
So
But what's great about that? Because people will be like, okay, just take pictures, but no, they actually get to fly there. It's like they actually get
that's
to,
pretty mad.
yeah.
Here yeah, here actually we get if it's like a small product or something like a, in size, will be like perfume or food and
Yeah,
other stuff.
exactly. Always get
But
those.
but I don't think I ever worked on like a boat or anything like that. I mean,
Or
the
No.
something
biggest.
where you had to
I
fly
mean,
out for it.
there was a
No, it's great though, because we always have
they,
meetings with them, briefs and such.
yeah
So
I mean, that
yeah.
just kind of
the
adds like
one
a
where
level to
they
like fun to the job too. It's just
No,
go around.
definitely.
Yeah.
They're going
yeah
to
it does.
Florida next couple of months and then come back again. So it's like
That's pretty
good on
sick.
them. I think it was
Yeah.
Florida. I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think it was Florida.
Yeah, the client that I had with it, where they didn't want to send like the models and stuff. They were actually like an
Really?
electric like appliance kind of stuff. So they did like
Mm.
dishwashers and washing machines. So those are big, but I mean it's whatever. They had like a warehouse and all, they just didn't want to send anything. Um,
Wait, so you guys accepted it during the brief or like the first time you guys meet? Because that's
we
whenever.
we we actually I think the because this was like a studio project, right? This was not freelance. So
No, 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 right.
uh, the client was in Iraq. So he actually like flew. I remember he told me he went to Iraq to get clients, and he came back. So maybe he met that guy in person, and he just briefed us. I'm like, okay, we'll do it. But it's sort of like there's a whole detailed like explanation on like the previous episode on like why everything went to like shit and everything and what like happened in detail and Zappo was there to like back it up because he knew as well. It's just like just one of those like really frustrating clients. Um,
Mm.
I'm not sure if you experienced the client. There's always the saying that when in like my old studio, like the client doesn't know what he wants. Client basically it's the most stressful one because you give them something and they know they want like this thing but they also don't want it kind of thing. Like they have no
No,
idea what
no,
they
no.
want.
We had that problem. I actually jumped into one of the projects too, so I totally get what you mean. This is like
Yeah, and it's
horrible.
very super stressful. I'm not sure if Josh has had it because since we're doing commercial kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. No,
It is a
I
bit
have different.
difficult. But you, for the industry or the community that Josh has, where he's doing animation and all,
VFX and
filmmaking
stuff.
stuff and all of that stuff, there is a storyline. It's more in the entertainment rather than like marketing business kind of stuff where they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to present and stand
Yeah.
out and
Right.
whatever. So it's a lot like
I just have to
different.
make like a character look badass like when he enters a scene. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's like a a huge difference because you're trying to convey information. I'm trying to convey more of a feeling than
Oh,
I
that's
guess.
funny you say that because that's not true in our case whatsoever. Um,
Like it's not
we are
true for you
more.
guys.
It's on the
We're still
client.
conveying the message, which is it's like very important, right? But
Well,
for
it's also
them,
like
what's
conveying info more than well,
yeah,
not
convey
just
info.
yeah,
Yeah, info and message, right? Like that's the point of doing this kind of stuff. But
yeah,
like the amount of times I always come back with how realistic it's supposed to be, that's when it goes haywire. It's kind of hard. So we sometimes have to stray away from the actual like info and just focus on how realistic it is. And we're
yeah,
still working on it because we saw it's like it's not a good thing. It's wasting our time, and sometimes what the client wants just it's not necessary change. So we need to work more on that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, but like even like the realistic side is still like providing info like
It
to like
is.
some degree because like even for me like I could have like a janky scene that got turned to look good. So like it doesn't need to be like ultra realistic. It just needs to like convey that feeling 100%. Where I guess portraying realism is still to me feels like information based in
Right.
messaging because it's like
No,
okay,
right.
this is the thing that they are getting, like a phone or something. It's like this is the phone that they're getting.
No, right,
They need
right.
to see it. You can't just
No,
have like a
that I
too
can.
shaded iPhone like in a
No,
commercial.
no,
It's
I
like
totally get that. I totally get that. I totally get that. But like, I have like let's say this project that I was doing just a bit, tiny bit. I did like maybe 10% of it. But like, it was a room. Their product was like it's something called like smart showering, where they essentially like when you shower, it actually saves money and actually environment friendly, right? So that was the
nice.
point, the whole. But we were supposed to make a room for them because that's how their site is. When you go to their website, you look at the products, it's always engraved into actual a room because that's a
Oh,
smart
so
showering,
like
right?
that. So
That's
that is the like creative section where it's like this, like it doesn't have to be a specific room. It just needs to be like a room that's realistic, fits.
Well, yeah, right. But they're always specific though, because during their brief they always say, okay, what's crazy is about they say stuff that doesn't make sense to us because they always sometimes say like cold but like warm. You're like, what does that mean? Is like neutral or is like
Just white, just a
and
white room.
yeah, exactly. They were like make the room like feel warm, like lively, but like cold. You're like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like I
Yeah,
don't
it's
can't convey that.
It's like
That's-
add
you
add like a
know-
warm and like cool
right
like
And we
compositing
did.
effect, and like
We
don't even
did.
change the slider, just leave it in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
there you
then-
go.
do you ever get like the comment of like a client going like, can you make the animation smoother or like faster, slower, a bit more fluid? That doesn't like,
No,
make any
I
sense.
should get that
Make it
from
look
my-
more make it look more colorful. Make it pop.
Oh,
like
not
make it
nah,
pop.
not yet. But I get that a lot from my art director. Because for me, I like fast paced, right? But then you always have to
Yeah.
remember the age group. So like, okay,
Oh
they're
yeah,
that
that's
old.
another.
They're at that old, so you need to make this slower. You're like, oh god damn it, it looks
Yeah,
horrible.
when you look think of an age group, that also adds like another challenge.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah,
was
it
like
is.
there's like a cereal company. I was supposed to work on this project, but
Oh,
this
is
is when I
this
like
the-
left.
Yeah, I remember.
A cereal one, yeah. So they were complaining about the previous project that they done. That it was fine, but it looked a bit too scary to be child friendly. So basically, it was like you got the cereal, and the cereal is eating the other cereal. It's like like the chocolate ones, or like these monsters, and they're trying to eat like the white chocolate cereal thingies, whatever.
Right.
And they were like because they have all these mouths and stuff, they look scary. So they wanted to make it look friendly, right?
Mhm.
So the thing was to make it look delicious, but also make it look friendly. So I think the thing was just like a happy, peaceful like cereal. He's playing on his PC on his controller, and he gets zoomed into like a chocolate like world kind of thing. And then they was just going about. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
The other but here's another hard one. So I actually worked on like some concert visuals inside Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And this was like one of the most frustrating clients I've had in like a while. And basically, he was like, "We want you to make these like concert visuals look sci-fi, like super cinematic, modern, but also make it family friendly." So he wants to combine like this sci-fi looking
Yeah.
kind of effect, like this really like gritty stuff, but
Mhm.
also make it like child friendly, like family friendly in a sense that it's for like kids and all of this stuff.
Right.
I'm like thinking like, and everyone in the studio was like what is he talking about? Right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
no one understands. It was funny, right? We also I told you one point we were actually in a call with them. Right? He was just like, okay, guys. So here's the thing. We want you to do this thing, right? And he's like, is everyone clear? And he just straight up ends the call after, and everyone is sitting there like. He didn't even ask us if we have any questions. He just left, and he was like, "It was so rude. It was
It
super
is
annoying."
so rude. Yeah. What?
It is-
That's the kind of client you get? What the fuck?
No,
Yeah.
that was only one client. We never got a client like that
Oh.
before, but that was the one. It
Oh.
was pretty hilarious. We're like, he was sitting there, and everyone was just for like a full minute. We were just staring at each other like, did he just leave? He just left the Zoom call. It was like
That's funny.
that's not cool at all.
We by the way, we have like 10 minutes on this episode, and then we can record another one. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Time flies. I like it.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
before we end it off, there's actually one more question.
Well, we have
but
like
this
we have
is
like
for
10
like,
minutes. Are we recording another one after this?
I
don't know.
mean, why not?
Are you down?
Why
Andy?
not?
Why not?
Alright,
I
yeah.
am fine with that.
Yeah,
Totally. I'm not.
we need the episode.
No, totally.
I said a week. So yeah, the last one is actually something that Josh added earlier, but it was because you do have like environment renders on like your
Oh
portfolio.
yeah, I definitely
I am
do.
very
And
interested
Ram?
on the.
And I'm not really. Yeah, so he's actually he does more environment stuff. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
what kind of like first of all like what goes in your like workflow or your mindset to make environments? What like programs do you use or any like extra like add-ons or plugins and stuff like that? Or
For most of the project, I use DAS, as some of you guys know.
Yeah, for the character stuff.
But yeah, for the characters. But I never use plugins for those. None. Zero actually.
None
I just do them.
like
I just
the
do.
What about
environment itself.
Oh, let's say Quixel. Like that's
yeah,
something I
quick
use.
shoot?
Right. Right. That's
Yeah.
something I
Well, what
use
about
a
like the
lot.
trees and stuff? Like
Oh, trees. I mean, sure, you use like some just you find on Google or even Forester. I haven't used
Do
Forester.
you want
But
Forester is great.
I gotta
yeah,
bleep
it's great.
I
It's
gotta
awesome.
I gotta bleep this. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have no clue.
Yeah,
I can
that is
send that to
the
you.
that
No,
is
I'm
the
good. But
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I ask when I need it, but I don't think I need it now.
Okay, it's just it has
yeah.
like every tree in existence,
But
so it's
is the equivalent of Forester in Blender basically. It's like the same
Ah,
thing.
Blender.
oh, how
And
much
you
does it
have
cost?
like
Is it
it's
free?
actually pretty cheap.
Well, it's
No,
not
it's not
free,
free,
but
but it's
that's
pretty.
why I said I could send it to you because I.
No, it's fine. I like to buy my stuff.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't know.
okay, okay.
Well, I
It's
Oh,
think
something
I'm the
the
same way, but when I saw the price of that, I was like, God damn, I'm
Oh,
good right
is it like
now.
200, 200? Oh,
Yeah, it's
damn.
like it's a little expensive. So
Ah,
I think
not
Astro sent it to
not
me.
as much as it's not as much as Forester to be honest. Forester is a lot more expensive.
yeah, it's
But
yeah.
yeah, but
Right.
yeah, but what goes in like what kind of mindset do you have to like like
Um,
what are any like fundamentals you keep in mind or what resources do you
I
use
mean,
to actually like
environment. It's funny how you say that because I don't think I've done a lot of environment. Have I? I think I've only done like
no you haven't compared to
I
others
feel like
no
it.
but you
I
yeah.
feel
do
like it was
have
because
the
your
way you
environments were
Or
just your environments were just good when I saw them. I was
ah,
like very
okay, I see.
interested. Because especially the
Oh
one
yeah.
where the girls on the boat on the lake,
Oh
the
yeah,
water
that
looks.
Vagabond project. Yeah,
Yeah, that
indeed.
it looks so good.
Oh,
So I
for
was very
that
interested.
one, the way I was thinking is more like, what am I supposed to tell? What's the story behind the project? Because that's how I approach every project. Like, I can't just make stuff. It has to be some kind of meaning for me to actually start. So in this case, I wanted to more like Chinese, like more Chinese, but fused with maybe Korean, Japanese, right?
Mm.
So I was
yeah.
looking, a lot of references, a lot of stories, and then eventually
Can you
came
see
to.
my yeah? Sorry. Can you see my like
Yeah.
my reflection of the glasses? You could see
Oh,
exactly what I'm looking at right now. Yep. I'm like,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
that
Like
video.
there, like
Yeah.
like cause yeah, I'm asked because you have like this very composition, like kind of like renders and stuff like that.
Right, but
It's
it's not that
centered and
perfect, but it's something.
nothing is ever perfect, but
Yeah,
it looks good, and
it
you
looks
know it is.
alright. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
just trying to get better at environment stuff. So I was always curious if like people use like let's say you're like Azro, you use like Botanic to populate a lot with trees, or
Right,
you sculpt
right.
your rocks, or you sculpt the environment, use like modifiers for it, use like world creator
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Alex
Right.
uses, like something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
My
Uh,
my excuse for making environments is like I if I'm gonna make something, I find an excuse to do it. That's why I did like that Lendl title sequence because I'm using
yeah.
title sequence as a reason to make environment because I don't want to just make it, but I also want to like animate it, right? And when I
Right.
look at Lee Behance animated environments, they're like 50% of the time they're just like title sequences. It's just like cool panning shots, and then
Yeah.
title directed by da 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 da. So it's like
Mhm.
yeah. So. Are we at the 1 hour mark or
We've
we're
been, but
still
I was giving us an extra. Well, we have like 6 minutes till it hits an hour, and then I have to grab a drink
another
after.
50?
Yeah,
All right.
It's
I mean,
fine.
do you want to just end it now, and then we can start the next one?
Yeah,
Because
why not?
I have to grab a drink. All right. Well,
Mhm.
this is the third party podcast.
Yeah.
Alex to my left, thank him. Thank Andy again. Thank myself. I said this in the last podcast, but I have an ego, so I have to thank myself. Especially for like an
Sponsor?
outro.
Sponsor maybe? Sponsor
Oh,
segment? No
oh,
sponsor
well,
segment?
I mean, I usually cut that in the middle, but yes, in the
Oh
description
yeah,
there
okay.
there
Yeah,
is
never mind.
there's a
Alright.
Skillshare thing, so you can get 30% off your first month of Skillshare. It actually supports us, so use that. And we also
Yeah.
have one for Dubby for 10% off their
Oh.
energy drinks. So
Yeah.
go check that out.
So
I'm
we
actually
can
about to go drink
yeah,
some after we
yeah,
end this
check them
podcast.
out so we can eat burger, like
So
money.
yes, money.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. Alright.
All right, peace, guys.
Peace.
Thanks, Andy,
Hello.
again. He's gonna be on the
Thank
next podcast next week, so yes, see you again.
you.